Hello, it's another what am I calling these? Time-lapse recording. And this time I have a special guest, INHIBIT's best colorist. It's Spire, yay!
Really? I'm the best one out of all of the official INHIBIT colorists there have ever been?
Out of everyone who's colored the comic, you are probably the best.
So yeah, hello everybody.
Yeah, hi Spire. We're just gonna chat a little bit. I think last time I kind of tried to say specific things about each page as it came up, but we'll just have a little chat. Spire started coloring the comic in the last scene of the previous chapter, which was chapter 8. So this is the first full chapter that you colored for me, where you picked all the palettes,
Yeah.
you did all the shading, and I appreciate it so much because I fucking hate coloring. It is such a joy to not actually have to do any of the coloring.
I'm so happy to do it.
Good. I'm glad that it's not a burden. Yeah, sorry, you're gonna say something?
No, I was just going to say, well, it might be a burden for you, but some people have different opinions about coloring.
Yeah. I don't understand that. I am very jealous of people who can understand color. I don't care to understand. I wish I was bothered to learn, but I'm not.
You have a special disinterest in coloring.
I do.
Color theory in general.
That is exactly right. I just want to draw the faces that someone else then colors. And this chapter has a lot of those really good faces. Yeah, like all of these faces we're seeing. Yeah, this chapter had a lot of environments that I hadn't done before, and I was trying really hard to actually focus on making those environments look good. I don't like to draw environments. There's a lot that goes into a comic that I don't enjoy drawing. Environments, like backgrounds, is definitely one of them. I just want to draw the faces and the hands, and that's basically it. So to be drawing a full comic is kind of an ordeal, but I'm making it work.
You are.
We'll get there soon, I guess. Before we get to the main location for this chapter, we have to escape Earl real quick. I had to draw plants and the outdoors for the first time in this comic, which was a struggle.
Was it really the first time for the entire comic?
I think there's really briefly some grass at the start of chapter 7 when Masha is driving Vic to Urquhart, but that's it.
Oh yeah, the highway shot.
Yeah. Actually, I don't even remember if there is. I think it's just
It was the highway shot.
Was it? Okay.
And in chapter 1, the first page, you see outside of Urquhart for 1 second.
Yeah. And I think there's a couple of potted plants here and there, but for the most part, this is a very, very indoor comic.
I think we've both saddled ourselves with extremely indoor comics.
Yeah, extremely indoor and extremely simple outfits because everyone is wearing uniforms.
Yeah.
It's just because, again, the outfit isn't the interesting part for me to draw, it's the faces, so it's just okay, stick everyone in the same outfit. Now I don't need to think about it.
That's a really good Polly face.
Oh, it was so much fun drawing Paulina actually making expressions other than her default bitchy expression. She's smiling.
She's breaking
she's
out of her serious anti-hero facial expression.
Exactly. I also obviously really enjoyed drawing Vic's faces in this scene.
Yeah. I love this trend of like you draw everybody like hanging off the bottom of the panel and then you have to shrink them into the panel.
Well, yeah, because I don't when I'm drawing them, I know how I tend to overdraw, and then I can just shrink them in
Yes.
to actually fit, which is why, like, I do this on purpose. Like, it's not like, oh no, they don't fit. This is why I'm a digital artist. I can't, for the life of me, draw things to the actual size. I need to draw it in full, and then shrink it to where it needs to be. Or even if, like, there's a hand that overlaps a section, I'll draw it somewhere else in the page and then bring it over, so I know I, like, drew the whole thing, and now I can, like, fit it into place. I was saying to you recently, maybe it was you, I can't remember. I was saying to someone recently that when I look at these time lapses, it's even like when they're even more sped up than this, it's really fun because the page looks almost animated because everyone is kind of moving and like jostling into position.
Yeah. All right, everybody, get on set.
Yeah. I'll edit something later just to like show when it's even faster. It's really funny to see. Now we're at Larner. Oh boy, there's a lot going on I have to talk about. Okay, well, first of all,
Whoa.
Larner is meant to be like a much more, like, Urca is very square and like blue and rectangular and glass, and then I wanted Larner to feel much more organic. So like the buildings are all like these big like beetles or like cocoons almost, and it's all very flowy and full of plants and stuff, which again I was like, I want to do that, and then I had to draw it and I was like, fucking hell. But architectural design is not my strong point, so this whole chapter was a real struggle. And I ended up building most of the sets in The Sims, just to like get an idea of like the layout and figure out what was going on. It's a shame for this like foyer section, this foyer bit. I actually built a whole room with like waiting chairs and all this stuff that you never see because it ended up getting covered by the other characters. And I just cut it out because you see a tiny glimpse of it in the lower middle panel, like there's a couch, but I just got rid of it. And the same with the bird. I was like, oh, I'll have like animals decorating the walls. And then I was like, actually, this bird is really distracting, and I never did it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it was the first time I'd built a set in The Sims, and it was mostly for the plants, like you can see in the background just now. I don't know how to draw plants, and I was really trying to channel Harry Connor. I was like, Harry loves to draw plants.
Oh yeah.
I need their spirit with me now. And I showed them. I was like, look at these plants I drew. It was like the scene where they first get out of Earl, and Vic's like, oh, it worked. That shot. I showed it to Harry, and they were like, Eve, where's the love? Like, there's clearly no love for plants in this panel. And I was like, fuck, that's so brutal.
Whoa. I'm gonna try to keep count of how many times you draw Vic's like hands switched to the wrong place because it's happened twice now.
Oh, which one was it just now?
The one with Vic's back to us, you drew that his left hand on his right arm and then you flipped it over.
Huh, interesting.
It's
Well,
very
at least I
interesting.
caught
I'm
it.
gonna keep count
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
This chapter also has return of Bronwyn, who we saw in chapter 4, I think, in like the little epilogue to like when Nate's team meets Paulina. She's like the forensic Larner officer, and she has a team who were like the other two characters who are with her in that other scene, who were meant to like also kind of play a role. And then it was just too many characters, so I ended up cutting that out. They had names and everything. I don't remember what they were. Probably not very
Really?
important. Yeah. Oh, also this panel, these two panels down here were really not working, so I ended up switching like this random Vic in the middle on the
Oh,
bottom panel. I was like, oh, the flow is really weird here. So,
yeah.
oh, okay, we're not going to see that. I guess I did that later.
Oh, I love that Vic. Oh, I love that one too.
There's a lot of times where like something that works in the thumbnails doesn't work in the actual page. So like the fourth panel just there where I drew Julia really small. And then I was like, no, she needs to get right up close to the camera. It's way funnier. It's fun. I like penciling because it's like it doesn't need. There's not as much thinking as in the thumbnails, but it doesn't have to look as good as in the inks. I like this the note on the bottom panel in the thumbs. It said "nice courtyard" because I couldn't be arsed to thumb it.
And you never did.
I never did.
You made me draw it. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't make me draw it.
I wonder if I even penciled it. I have a suspicion this is a panel where I left.
I don't think you did. Because when I did the palette for this, you had drawn nothing for the plants. I was just like slapping color blobs down. Like, oh, there might be a bush over here and like a tree over here.
That's the process. That's the artistic process.
That's teamwork, baby.
That is teamwork. This chapter wouldn't look nearly as nice if it wasn't for Spire.
Oh, well, shucks.
This sucked drawing. Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say I love how whimsical this stairway is. It's so unnecessarily like extravagant. I love it.
Thank you. I was trying to put in as many curves as possible, while also recognizing my extreme limitation when it comes to environmental design. Like on this page, I've done all the Vics before doing anything else because I didn't want to draw. I didn't want to draw Scott. I didn't want to draw Julia interacting with Scott. It was really hard to drawing Scott. I have a feeling most people are not going to remember who he is, and that's a failure on my part to not like do one more reminder of who that character is before we see him here, and also to try and draw him in a way that would like maybe trigger a memory, like because I think the way I would have drawn him now in my current style is actually different to how I ended up drawing him. I tried to draw him a little more similar to how he looked in the comic last time we saw him, which is just the struggle of a long running webcomic.
Oh, smart move, duplicating the door and skewing it.
Oh, is that what I did? I was not even looking. Yeah, I'm really smart. Yeah, I got a brain.
Yeah, work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, especially in the pencils when it doesn't fucking matter.
Well, it means you have to think less in the inks.
I do love drawing repeated panels, so if there's like the same beat in the same location and the characters are only slightly tweaked, I do draw it each time instead of copy pasting. There is one exemption from that coming up in this chapter because it was like a lab background and I really didn't want to redraw it, but I feel like it adds more life to a page when it's not just like the same panel copy pasted.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, something I was struggling with apparently on the bottom of this page is I wanted either the characters to overlap the middle panel or then the middle panel to overlap the characters, and I ended up doing neither. I like overlapping panels. They're fun.
I think that was a good call.
Yeah, it feels more enclosed the way it is now. I do love a good overlap, but it needs to be purposeful.
Like this one coming up.
Like this one.
I'll take the time to say, I know you really pushed yourself outside of your comfort zone with Larner's architecture, and I think you did a really good job sticking the landing, because I know it's a whole different realm to you. It's not just like everyone talking inside of a cardboard box, which would be great, because then you just have to draw the faces and the hands.
Mm-hmm.
But I think taking the time that you did to think about, like, this crazy hallway right here is just insane looking. Like, you could have just drawn a regular boxy hallway, but you took the time to think about like what Larner's design principles would be and like what kind of stuff they do here, and to really make that clear in the architecture, and I just really appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
That's so nice to hear. A fun fact about this page is that all of the microscopes in the Sims screenshot are actually toy rockets. But they are
really?
Microscope shaped. Yeah.
I love also all this, I can see all the soap bottles in the foreground.
Yeah, we've
here.
got soap bottles, we've got candle trays. I just like any little thing I could stick on a table. I ended up flipping that big panel because direction is really important, panel to panel direction. And right now they're moving to the right in the top. There we go, I flipped it. Moving to the right in the top panel. They were moving to the left in the middle panel, and then they're moving right again. And it's just, it doesn't work. So I flipped it. I should have caught that before penciling most of it. But what matters is I caught it.
What matters is that you work digitally and not traditionally.
Yeah. There was a brief moment there where I was flipping Vic's pupils in the middle panel in the bottom row, flipping them from left to right a bunch because I couldn't work out which direction he was supposed to be looking.
He doesn't know either. That's why he's looking
Yeah, he's like, wait, what was that? The top two panels are the panels that I ended up copy-pasting the inks for.
Oh, yeah.
Because, yeah, sometimes you do just have to do what you got to do.
Sometimes you got to put the page out on time.
Sometimes it's just you got to finish it. Finished, not perfect.
Yeah. I love you're definitely leaving it for last too.
Yeah, I really didn't want to do it. These recordings definitely out me as to like what I don't enjoy drawing and what I prioritize. Oh yeah, I was trying to.
Oh, we're doing inks now.
I was testing inks, I guess.
Whoa.
Oh boy, this page is all over the joint. I really didn't want to finish this one. Oh, you can see more clearly though the rocket on the table, also a speaker and a pile of books.
I think if anything, the books could stay.
Yeah, I think I drew most of. I think I drew some of it. Oh, okay, I left it for the inks, I guess.
Goodbye. I'm glad we're finally seeing Paulina just jump on some crap, because usually she just appears places. I like being able to see her move.
Yeah. Yeah, she and Vic are both very like when they stand around, both of them are just very like hands at the sides, like intense for different reasons. So it's always fun to draw Vic flailing about, and it's fun to draw Paulina being a little bit more of a gremlin.
Yes. I think we need to see more of that, please.
These sim screenshots really saved my ass. I fully support tracing. It's again, finish not perfect. Just do it. Just trace it. It's fine.
You just can't, you cannot finish a comic without tracing a reference at least once. You cannot.
I don't trace regularly, but I do very, very often reference myself. Like, I'll take reference videos or photos. You need to. I guess I changed the dialogue for this page, it seems.
Huh?
Just kind of shuffling things around.
There it is.
It wasn't working for me.
It was so much fun coloring Paulina holding the fire in her hands, because I was like, oh yeah, she's going to feel cool in this moment, so I'm going to make her look cool.
I appreciate that. I originally drew her with this very serious expression. And then I was like, no, she would obviously be like, fucking yes. I gave her more of like a insane smile.
It's time to burn down the establishment.
Yeah. That top two panels, that's another set of panels that didn't really work in practice, so I ended up removing the panels completely and I just made it one big, like, open panel of them yelling at each other. Which is really all I ever want to draw. Yelling. Also, it was really fun to write this chapter because their entire plan is so fucking stupid.
What do you mean? It was a great plan.
It was so dumb, and I was like, this is the dumbest idea ever. Like, this thing that they're doing is so silly. But it's fine, because they're just dumb kids, so it can be dumb. Even, like, I couldn't think of a better plan, but it's like, but that's the plan they would come up with, so it's fine.
Yeah. Wow, you're no smarter than some punk teens.
Yeah. Are you surprised?
I guess not. Not after all this time. Not after all I've seen.
I think you have to be kind of stupid to write a comic like this.
Yeah, you have to be stupid enough to start this kind of project.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Oh god, I really struggled with that guy on the top right. Oh, that's a horrible face. Oof, that's a rough one. This whole page, this whole page, I was just not feeling.
Were you not feeling it, like, in what way were you not feeling it?
Just the rhythm of it felt weird to me. But I needed, like, writing-wise, I felt like the comic needed a beat of this page of them, like, leaving and kind of, like... These two pages are them, like, okay, our plan is now fucked. We need to do something different. And then I needed to separate Vic from the other two. This chapter actually originally was not much shorter, but it didn't have the greenhouse scene at the end. So...
Right.
These two pages were kind of a rewrite of their original escape, which was much shorter and much more abrupt, and it was very like, oh, and now we're out, and that's the end of the chapter. And it was like, well, that's really unsatisfying. I had to put them in a little bit more danger. Or Vic, at least. And I also wanted Vic to, like, have his own escape without Julia and Paulina, because I wanted him to have just a little bit more agency in this chapter in terms of like he has an idea and he goes and does something. So I ended up changing it, and I think the page with the guard suffers for that, but it's fine.
I love Paulina's face when she's pulling her hair.
Oh, I love her so much.
It's like the most, what would you call it? Like the most caught off guard she's ever been in the comic so far, I think. Because usually she's so aloof.
Yeah, she, like, I think, like, when they go into the server room in chapter 7, and she's also very caught off guard, and she's like, she has a little freak out over it. She's like, everything is fine. It'll work out, and then it doesn't work out, and she's like, fuck, shit.
In that regard, she and Vic are not so different.
Yeah. This page, these couple of pages, I did not pencil most of it. I left it for the inks, very cruelly. I drew the figures and then I left it alone. Oh, something I wanted to say about the previous pages. The way that the buildings are set up, so each of the buildings is named after a kind of flower. So this is the foxglove. No. Is this foxglove? It's a building, and it's named after a flower. And then all of the sections in the building are named after, like, species of that flower. Or, no, what are they called? I can't remember the scientific term. It's like the scientific name of a specific kind of flower. So there's like the purpurea, the alba, all these other things. All of those sections are a kind of a species subset of flower that the building is named after. If that makes sense. That's what those curly cursive words over the holes were. They're different names.
You're explaining all these things, and I'm just looking at all these, like, incredible Vic faces.
This is another one. I was just like, I'll draw Vic, and I won't draw any of the environment. That's for later.
How did he not break all of his bones? Is it because he's a cartoon character?
Yeah, he's made of rubber. And also, if he's gonna break any bones, I don't want it to be now. I need it to be later when it's much more intense.
He breaks his leg in this fall, and then he's like out of the comic for 2 chapters, and then he comes back. He has a nice little break. I think that's what should have happened.
He comes back after the events of the final chapter.
Yeah.
It's like, hey guys, what did I miss? Well, we're basically at the end. This was a fun chapter to draw. I had a fun time drawing it, but I'm really fucking glad it's over, because the next chapter that I'm currently inking is like all conversation. And I can draw conversation with my eyes closed.
That's your bread and butter.
It really is. That's the bones of INHIBIT, is conversation. Angry conversation, most of all.
Conversations where Vic is being belittled for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any closing thoughts on the colors for this chapter?
Well, this, as Eve said earlier, this was the first full INHIBIT chapter that I got to color, and I've been having a lot of fun just picking out colors for all these different environments, and like it also switches up enough times that I'm like, I never get bored of the coloring that I'm doing, because there's always like a new color scheme to work with. And it's just been really interesting, like working on a different comic that's not solely my project, and like trying to bring Eve's characters to life in the color choices that I make. So it's just been, I've been learning a lot of new stuff about coloring comics simply because I'm coloring for someone else, and it's been a lot of fun.
What if, like what?
Well, just like your comic, like you explained to me when I started working on it, it doesn't demand quite a saturated color fest like Recoil would. You explained to me like it needs to be a little bit more subdued and a little bit more realistic. So that's not a brain space that I work in very often. So it's been really interesting, like finding that balance between conveying emotion through the color while not being like crazy and going bananas with like bright blues and greens and reds and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's true. Recoil is gorgeous, by the way, if anyone watching has not read Recoil. It's really good. It's exactly what I wanted INHIBIT to be when I was a teenager, when I was writing INHIBIT. So that is like a huge compliment because I wanted it to be really cool and edgy. And then Recoil is basically exactly that comic, so highly recommended.
Yeah, Recoil is INHIBIT's edgy brother.
It really,
at recoil.one.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Spire, for coloring INHIBIT.
Of course.
Thank you guys for supporting Patreon. Yeah, that's the end of the video.
See ya!